I love film. I've always loved film. I love like just the stories that you can tell, I feel like through film. But one of the things that's always been a pet peeve of mine is that like the only movie I feel like what they've ever filmed on St. Martin was like some movie called Speed or something, which was like an American film where pretty much like a cruise ship or something crashed into the island, and that's like the only that's it. Like that was like the only time we've ever been in like cinematic history, and that's been so annoying because for me I feel like St. Martin people are just so freaking incredible and hilarious and just like content gold in my eyes that it makes no sense that as part of even like our marketing scheme, like telling our own stories and like creating films, we're never really a part of that. And when I see people like you that are actually like taking that leap to create content that tells our stories, it's like really about the people, featuring the people. Like that's so incredible to see, and it's really good and hilarious. And it's just like the types of shit that you wouldn't see anywhere else, but it hits that like string of like, ah, that shit is good, like
So
oh my
now,
god, like yes. But I'm curious, like where did that, even interest in film or like cinema or, just getting behind the camera and capturing, these stories of the voices of St. Martin people in St. Martin English, which I feel like also doesn't really get seen that much unless you're on the island. Like what sparked that for you?
well, okay. Before I talk about that, I just want to touch on the speed thing you mentioned earlier. Yeah, that's like one of the only things. But there was one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies where they shot on the French side. I don't know if you saw that one.
Which one?
It was I think it was part six or was it part five? But yeah, but my journey started when in high school I had some friends that would do some videos. Shout out to Ian, aka Young Space Cadet. How you mean? And Jomi. I had some friends. They basically would do videos and stuff. And then one day they asked me if I wanted to act in one of the videos, and I was like, okay, cool, no problem. So from there, I started to my interest started in with the skits. It was fun, and it's cool. You're having fun with friends, shooting videos and stuff like that, and you're being creative. So that sparked the interest, you could say. And then after that, I didn't know it was my passion, but like things kind of fell into place, you could say, where now I can't even see myself living without without doing something or like pursuing this film thing on a professional level. Like I feel like I was put on this earth to do it, and it took me a while to even realize that, because for me I was one of those people where I don't want to say I wasn't talented at anything, but I wasn't really passionate about something. And I found that film thing, I found it like later on in life, where everybody else had like the natural talents, and it was like, okay, I can see this person doing this as a career, I can see them doing that. But for me, I kind of found film late in my career. It felt like, yeah, this is it. Like this is me right here, and this was meant for me. So yeah, it started with friends, just some friends asking me to be in a video, and I was like, okay, cool, I'll do it. And then from there on, it slowly like build and build and build. Another thing that happened too is, I don't know if you know about there's this thing called, do you know director SM? You could say he's like one of the first generation filmmakers for St. Martin. So it's like one of the people that started like pushing it, you could say. And he was part of this other company called I Am Media Plus, and they would do like their like film jobs, but then they also had like content on the side. So there's a lady named Latoya, shout out Latoya. Yeah, she basically was telling us that, yeah, if you guys have concepts, we would like to meet with you guys and we could film it and stuff like that. And it was cool. We did a couple projects together, but then after that, they kind of got busy with like the film jobs, because the skits and stuff is like a passion project. You're not really making money off of it. So of course, like the corporate work, that would take priority. So that happened, and then when that happened, we had like a lot of concepts, but we didn't really have anybody to film it. So we were like, okay, we could do this ourselves. Let's just do it. So that's when we started like filming ourselves, and then yeah, and then slowly, we have this thing called Focal Length Studios. Slowly, that turned into Focal Length Studios, where we like make skits and we just post them or whatever. And I have to address something too. A lot of people a lot of people been asking us, when are we gonna start back posting again? They keep asking us, and like we keep telling them that yeah, we will be posting soon. We can't give like a specific date, but right now we're trying to like create as much content as possible, like in bulk. Like we're trying to stack so that when we start posting again, we could like be more consistent. Because that was our issue in the past. Like we would just post for a little bit and then we would disappear, and then post again and then disappear. But as we want to take this more serious, we want to at least have a consistent we want to have a plan, a strategy, and not just post. So that's what's been happening right now. Yeah, with the film thing as well though, I always felt like, because growing up, when you growing up here, it's not normal to see you could say the island is behind in terms of like filmmaking and in terms of like quality and in terms of standard, right? There's a lot of places where that Hollywood quality or whatever, that's the standard, But for here, like when we was growing up, when we would see like commercial shot on the island or whatever, it's like, yeah, you could see the difference. So I was one of those people where I want the island, and it doesn't even have to be me, but because they have a lot of filmmakers on the island. But I always wanted our island to reach a point where when you see something coming from St. Martin and you see something coming from, like, if you watch Avengers or whatever, you can't see the difference. Because like for Bollywood, for example, it's like that. A lot of places in the world is like that. They have, even up here in Holland too. Like it has its own ecosystem and it's on a professional level. When you see their work, you can't tell the difference. And they have the professional girl, like they bad man. Everybody, yeah, they're doing what they gotta do. And I want our island to reach like that too. Even recently, I saw a commercial. I don't know if you saw a commercial that Kembe was in. It was like a Christmas one, I believe. I don't know if now you didn't see it, but yeah, it was like funny. It's King Kembe, he jokey or whatever. But the commercial, it looks like professionally shot. It looked like how the studio was set up, how the lighting was, everything. And I was like, yo, I hit up I don't know if you know Cameron. You're a photographer on the island, yeah, yeah. And he's a videographer. No, I gotta say that too. He's a videographer too. And I hit him up. I was like, yo, you know who shot this? And then he was like, yo, it's people from Curacao that did it. And I was like, okay, yo, that was good. That was dope. But I would have loved to hear that somebody from the island shot that. So yeah, that was just one of my goals. I just want to be able to be one of those people that could bring that respect level in terms of quality filmmaking to the island. So that when they see it, because I don't know if you know, but at least back when I was growing up, when you would see like a music video or you would see anything film wise, even sometimes music too, when you hear it, they'll be like, oh, that's from St. Martin. And like they would associate bad quality with St. Martin. You'd be like, yeah, that's from St. Martin. Like growing up, it always been like that, and like, yeah, we trying to kill that. And I also want that when, like, for the future generations at least, when they see us, they could see themselves being like, they could see quality. They have quality to look forward to. And they could be inspired by us with our filmmaking and creating in general. Because, like, for example, now, wait, BB, right? I believe you had an episode with her. I didn't get to see it. Anybody in St. Martin that go to school or whatever, go to high school or primary school, if they want to be a dancer, right? They have, like, example, BB to look up to, be like, yo, I see she touring, she doing all these things. She dancing on a professional level. I have her to look up to. I want that for like every creative thing. But since filmmaking that's like my world, right? I want people to at least be able to look up to some of us and be like, yeah, this filmmaking thing is possible because I see them doing it. And the first generation, director SM, them man, even Cameron, I would consider him first generation too. Like, yeah, them man doing their thing. Well, no, I wouldn't consider Cam first generation. He kind of started late. But director SM, I would maybe even Cyclone, I would say. People are being doing it. I don't know if you know Ricky. There's a guy named Ricky. Yeah. Ricardo. You don't know Ricardo? Well, yeah. Director SM, Ricardo, and they have some other people too. Their man is first generation. I would say Cyclone is second generation. That's with us. Cyclone is second generation. And I feel like it's our responsibility pretty much to like bring that quality to the island. So
Yeah, yeah, totally. I feel like filmmaking is a whole process that people don't really understand, like the amount of work that is required to make a high quality picture, film, story. Like there's so many different roles that go into making a film. Like when people see the credits of any film, that is like a gigantic team of people that are each doing a specific role that makes this final picture look as amazing as it does. Like even from like the people that just manage the sound to the people that then have to edit everything. Then you have color grading, you've sound effects, video effects, all of these things that when you're first shooting the film, like you're not realizing that there's still all of this post processing work to do. Like, okay, yeah, you have the script, you take all of your shots. There's still so much work that goes into it after, but that entire process of even like having the right gear, making sure that the rate at which you're capturing your film, like how what is the frequency that you're capturing your sound, all of these things like impact the final piece. And I do think it is a bit sad that people look at St. Martin and are like, oh yeah, if it's bad quality then it's from there. But I also feel like there's something beautiful about something that's so bad that it's good, like, you know what I mean, like it, like there's like a, I don't know, like an aesthetic to stuff that like even now, like when you look at like vintage video games, like you would say that that sucks compared to video games today, but it like falls within its own genre of like people now go out of their way to make shitty video games just to sort of replicate that aesthetic. And I don't know, yeah, for me there's something like cute about something that's bad, like, but it's like also if it's intentional versus like, okay, no, this really does suck and these people don't know what they're doing. um but yeah, I feel like that whole filmmaking process is just something that I had to learn for myself because like with YouTube, like it's a lot of work to even like post regularly. And I think like when people watch like a 9 minute, 10 minute video on YouTube, they're like, oh my God, like, yay, I want more. Not realizing that that takes like hours of work in the back end just to get that 10 minutes of footage that paints a beautiful story, and you're not thinking about all of the layers of like, okay, you have your A roll, you have B roll, you have all of these sounds that you have to also mix through this entire production. um and then make sure that when you export it correctly so that it actually looks good, and it will be good for the format that you're then going to upload to. And there's just like, I feel like so much that's changed in the evolution of film that people aren't even really thinking about that when they're just watching the final product. But I feel like as a filmmaker, you really have to dissect all of these different layers to see like, okay, but how did they actually do that? How did they get that shot? Why does that transition look like that? And it's a learning process. I really do appreciate you mentioning all of those people because, yeah, I don't know shit when it comes to St. Martin's, like who does what in film and like who like is a videographer versus editors versus producers and stuff like that. Um, but it is incredible to know that there are people out there that have supported you and just like even getting your feet wet of like how to learn that process of making media. And now that you guys are take that upon yourself and experiment and kind of really want to show others like, hey, like if you want to do this thing, like you're not alone. There's people around you that also have this passion and want to be a part of that. And I agree. I definitely already think you guys are inspiring people in film. Like even from just the clips that I've seen, like it's good. Like it's hilariously good. And I'm, yeah, excited to see sort of when you guys do post consistently. But I also like, I don't know, like I had that sort of pressure on YouTube when I first was like, oh, I want to be a YouTuber, so I need to post every week because that's what YouTubers do. And then you realize how much work it takes to post every week. And you're like, fuck that, can't do that. This is too stressful. I cannot be this stressed out over something that's supposed to be fun. And I had to accept that like the creative process, like capitalism almost makes the creative process have to be like this thing that you just have to be churning out, churning out, churning out. And to some degree, like I get that, like in your body of work, not every piece is going to be like 5-star Picasso masterpiece level work. But I don't know, like for me there's like the organicness of creation that at least I took that pressure off of myself of like I'm not gonna have to post every week, every month when it comes to video. When I create it, but I want to ensure that like the story has like very like clear intention versus like, oh, I'm just making a YouTube video that's on like trend with every other YouTuber but doesn't really speak to me. And then I feel like, oh, like why does this suck? And I'm like, well, you're out here stressing yourself for no reason, you know?
But yeah, I agree with that. I feel you on that part with the trying to feel like you have to post every week because everybody else is posting Vika every day. But I I could say I feel like I'm on both sides because one side I understand when it comes to like building a fan base or building a fan base, you have to be consistent. You can't just post, it's a lot. You're building it from the ground up. So it works, but yeah, I also feel you on the doesn't have to be every week or every day. It could be maybe every month. Cause I was having a conversation with one of my friends too that create, and I was like, yo, consistency is whatever you make it. If you post once a month, that's like you consistent. You don't have to do it every day or every week. If you post once every 2 months, like it's still consistent. You keep that, you're still consistent. It's just whatever works for you, you try to stick with that. We'll start posting eventually.
I mean, I guess like what is like your creative process when it comes to thinking about skits? Like is it like somebody on the team has an idea, then somebody like there's someone specific that writes the script, or is it usually like everybody is involved in every step of the process, even the editing and like all the post production work required to really bring the skit to life?
Yeah, so the team consists of is three of us, is Ion, that's young space cadet, and then there's Channel D the Don, aka Mr. Fiends and the Giants, and then there's me. And we all do everything. So we all write, we all film, we all edit, but yeah, we do everything together. So like we take turns. So example, if I have a concept, I'll be like, yo, I have this concept. I might write it because it's like my concept or whatever. And then we would work together on the shot listing. So it's like what kind of shots would work, how can we bring this vision to life? And then depending on like everybody's schedule, like we might assign the editing to somebody else. And that's one thing too. What kind of I don't want to say messed us up because it kind of helped us too. But when we first started with skits, the crazy part is people started contacting us for jobs. It was like, yo, how much do you charge to film for like a commercial or whatever? And we were like, charge? We having fun making skits and stuff. It was like, charge? You guys want us to do videos for you professionally? And then yeah, so it transitioned from just doing skits for fun to people hitting us up to make videos for them. And then when we started making videos for other people doing like film jobs and stuff, we kind of got this like sidetracked from like creating our own personal content. And there's nothing wrong with making money off of videos and stuff like that. But for us, like the end goal, we would love to monetize our content. We'll do both, but like you really want to be able to drop our content, make our create, just create, and then make money off of that. And that's kind of like the end goal. But yeah, the film jobs, because you have to balance, and the film jobs became so much at one point that it's like, yeah, we didn't even have time for skits, because we have our regular jobs, and then we had to do film jobs, and then it's like, yeah, when are we gonna do these skits? After a while, like in okay, so in 2018, I could break down the timeline. In 2018 is when we started, and we started getting introduced to jobs, and then we were like, yo, at the end of 2018, we were like, okay, yo, we losing track of the vision. These jobs cool, but we gotta have a balance. We gotta make time for the kids too, because that's the core of Focal Length Studios. That's the core of this company. So then in 2019, we was trying to balance the jobs and our regular jobs in the skits, and it was kind of like us failing at doing that because we still ended up doing jobs because it's like the more money to get gear, more money to do everything to help us, help the company, to help make, I guess, make it possible to do even better quality skits. We get gear. There's a lot of gear that goes into filmmaking. And yeah, we're trying to upgrade as a company as well. And then So 2019 was kind of like, yeah, figuring out how to balance all of that. And then 2020, like right before COVID hit, early 2020, we had so much jobs that me and a friend, we decided that me and Channel, we decided that we were gonna do it like full time, you know, because there's like so much jobs. Like I'm staying up late editing videos, and then I gotta wake up early to go to work, and then on the job. I'm not even doing my job. I'm editing videos on the job, you know, editing videos on the job. So it's like, yo, so much time is going into this. Like, it's time to do it full time. You know, it makes sense now. And then, so when we started doing it full time, that's when COVID hit. And like, we had so much jobs lined up for like the whole of 2020, and majority of it kind of like, yeah, had to got canceled because yeah, you know, because of COVID or whatever. So then we kind of started back kind of focusing on the skits. We shot a couple skits in 2020, but that's when we decided like, okay, we're not gonna pause these. Let's try to like stack as much as possible, and then we could like have like a whole rollout plan with it, you know. But in 2020 as well, surprisingly, people still wanted videos, you know. So we still had a couple jobs here and there. Shout out to Laura. I don't know if you know Color Me SXM, that project. Yeah, that Color Me SXM project, we did all the videos for it. So like the time lapses you see, like the promo videos, the after movie, everything. We did that for the Mural project. And Laura was our first client that kind of paid us, you could say, what we were worth, because like with these jobs, when we charge people, we get them like a we don't really get them like the full price, you know. We just give them like a price that we feel like will work or whatever. And then Laura, and it's like, even we you could even say that it's not really, oh, like we didn't even see our worth as well, you know. But Laura, for example, she used to do she was a filmmaker as well, and she did that like off island. I think it was in Europe or somewhere, right? So then when we gave her our price for certain job for the job, she was like, "That's it." We're like, "Yeah, we do it for this price. This is a good price to us. We'll do it, you know." And then she's like, "Nah, you guys work more than this." Like, and then when she did the calculation, we was like, "Yo, you gonna pay us this to do that?" And she was like, yeah, like this is what it should look like. And we was like, hey, okay, all right, cool, you know. So it's like it was a mixture of not even knowing our work and figuring out like, okay, yeah. And it's a mixture of not even knowing our work and then being in an island that doesn't know it as well, you know, because they're not even used to film companies being on the island, like actual film companies. They're not used to, even like, for example, for certain shoots, you have to get permission from the police, for example, right, to do certain shoots. You know, see, Maarten, it's not normal for like a road to close down because a production is happening. You know, but in the states and all these other places, that's normal. You know, so it's even like the whole island in general is not used to that whole thing. But hopefully one day, you know, one day it will be. And like when they see the price for certain videos, they will see the worth in it. You know, like I know some companies, some people, some not even companies, like freelance. Well, it could be a company too, but some freelancers, like it's a grand for them just to show up, and the camera isn't even on yet. You know, that's just for them to show up. You check like that, yeah. So it's like it's a lot that goes into it. And if any of them do any research for music videos and stuff like that, you'll be hearing some crazy numbers yeah, you'll be hearing some crazy numbers. Like I'm talking like car prices for video shoots, you know? So, hey, but yeah, one day, I feel like one day the island will evolve and reach to a level where they see the worth in it as a whole and as a people, you know?
With creative work, it is tough sometimes getting people to understand the work that you do, because people see a video and they're like, oh, I could shoot that, like why do it, why does it cost this much? But in reality, it does take a lot of work, from even the ideation of a film to actually figuring out, okay, what are the shots that we actually have to shoot? What are the different angles from that shot that we need to get that day? Are there different sounds that we need to capture on set versus after to actually make the clip sound the way that you want it to? And then even just like, yeah, like how are you going to transition? Are you using digital assets in that? Like all of that costs money, you know, like even the programs to edit cost money. Like this is not free, you know, if you want to shoot like a really good film. And even building the skills to know how to use those programs to their fullest, all of that takes time. And so people are like, oh yeah, but you just shot something quick, like it's not gonna be that much. Oh, but it is though. Why, if it's that easy, you go do it, and we gonna see at the end what it looking like, and we can go from there. But yeah, I think like with the island, because like you said, it's not something that people see a lot of, like they don't have that mental framework to be like, this is great work and this isn't. So they're just like, oh, like I'm gonna lowball you because you're my friend, right? Like we have friend and family price, right? Like how much money you think I got, bro? But it's like, bro, you want something high quality, right? Like you're gonna have to pay for it. Like it's not an easy thing. And I agree, like the projects in the states cost millions of dollars to shoot a film, you know what I mean, so that it could make billions of dollars, and it's interesting, like even learning about how like the film industry in the states has changed because of technology, and like prior when there was more like DVDs and like all of these like cassettes, like how even their business model has had to change with streaming, and like how that actually like impacts their bottom line. And that's why the films that we see today are not like the films that we used to see growing up, because they simply can't afford to make films like that and make money off of them. And it's just like really crazy because as consumers, like you just think like, oh yeah, like Netflix sucks, like there isn't anything good on Netflix, like everything is just reruns or like taking old stuff that people are already have seen and just putting it on this platform. But the work that it takes to make a profitable film, it's really difficult, and I don't think people acknowledge that enough. And so I think it's great to even have this type of conversation where we can highlight that awareness of like, no, like this stuff takes a lot of money to bring to life. Like it's not just easy peasy work. It takes a lot of effort. But going back to the gear that you guys use, I'm curious, like how has sort of your evolution of gear changed? Like, is there specific brands that you guys like really love compared to others, or was it just more so on like what you had accessible and just learning from that?
Okay, well, we first started off with Canon, and I got love for Canon gang all day, every day. So we had two Canons. Canon, the what was it? Oh, damn, what was the name of the TA? Yeah, the Canon TA, something like that. There was a TA and there's another one, but yeah, the Canon was Canon, and I was the only one that didn't have a camera. And then when I got mine, I was looking into something that was a little better for like low light situations, because we all been in there where we're trying to shoot in low light and it looks nice like with your eyes, because your eyes have more dynamic range, so it looks nice, but then when you pull out the camera, it's like terrible. And like lighting wise too, we don't even have the best lights to light the situation. Even lighting itself is an art on its own. So you have to learn how to light, and we don't even know how to light properly. So yeah, I was like, okay, I need something that could perform well in low light. And then I stumbled across the Sony brands, because they're better in low light in general. And yeah, so it was from Canons to Sony's, and then we also had we had a couple of gimbals here and there. We Our gimbal, rest in peace to Cassandra. But yeah, our first gimbal was a Zion crane. And then she stopped working because we had a shoot at the beach, and yeah, she got wet. You got wet, and the salt did its thing. And yeah, rest in peace to Cassandra. But we got another gimbal. Is a Zion crane as well, but it's a different one. Is the Weeble S. Yeah, there's a lot of technical terms, but we named that one Cassandra too, just to honor Cassandra. We also got a Steadicam with the like the vest and everything, with the arm that comes out and then it connects to the steady. Yeah, we got that too. We've been upgrading. So, but we still there's still so much more that we want. So much technical stuff that we have to get to level up, creatively. But yeah, we've been working on our craft too. So besides trying to like film sketch, we've been studying that level. Well, we've been spending time studying, because it's a whole. We're self taught. So there's a lot of stuff. Even though we kind of figured out certain things, there's a lot of stuff that we have to learn still. Because we're still not even where we're supposed to be in terms of the standard of quality. So we had to do a lot more research, a lot more digging. And my goal, for example, if I ever have a conversation with somebody that's been on like a professional film set, or any case like that, I can have a conversation with them and speak the same language. So all that technical terms that you hear with the gear, like you talk about lenses, but then when you talk about like anamorphic lenses, for example, like I wouldn't be lost, you know. I want to be able to like see a camera and be like, okay, yeah, this is that Ari, the Ari Alexa Mini. Nah, it's not a Mini, it's the Mini LF because of this and that. You know, it's like be yeah, understanding like everything with it, you know, and it's basically being a nerd with it, you know, studying everything and like you know example for some military for soldiers for example, right, they could hold a gun and know if the gun is empty, how much bullets it has just by the weight, you know, all that like technical aspect, all that yeah, all of that is what I want with the film for example. So it's like a lot of studying, a lot of digging, and yeah, a lot even paying attention to like the masters of this craft, the people that run things from the OGs from before we were born to like the ones that inspire the people that we watch today. Yeah, it's a lot of homework. But yeah, it's a lot of studying and that's what we've been doing to upgrade ourselves and besides even studying too, it's important to know that you have to experiment as well. So you could know all of these things, but you literally have to go and do it and shoot, you know. So finding time to go out and experiment with certain things, you know, special effects, trying to do certain effects is like, okay, would this work? Would this not work? Okay, how to do it? So there's a lot from the studying. It's like with school where you have your theory and your practical, it's like that same thing.
So how do you guys go about studying, like, or at least getting this type of information? Like, are you going to film school, or is it really all like self-taught through YouTube and just like literally going online and like learning what do filmmakers think? Like, how do cameramen think? How does sound think? How does lighting think?
Yeah. Okay. So with that, my advice to people that wants to like study it. Okay, on YouTube, there's two different words. There's like the basic camera, the consumer camera level where you learn okay, like the entry level stuff where you learn like okay, B roll, how to do this, just like the basic stuff with like camera settings, exposure or whatever, the entry level stuff. And there's a lot of content creators that just make mad videos on this stuff. And then there's like the other side, where you hear things that are like industry level vernacular, for example, and the way you get to this level is well, the way I got to it at least was I started losing interest in the consumer level stuff, and I started finding videos where people would interview people from the industry, right? And they would have a long conversation about how they did a certain shot that we see, like, and this is information that you can't find anywhere else, for example, you know? So there's a lot of digging on YouTube. And once you hear a conversation from somebody that's in the industry, you will hear a lot of terms that you've never heard before, you know? So it's like, okay, what is that, you know? It's like, okay, when you hear about lighting, you know, you have like your key light and your fill light, right? And that's like the basic stuff, right? But then with this with the people in the industry, they talk, you would hear stuff like negative fill. It's like, okay, I know what fill is, but what negative fill is? Okay, let me research that, you know? So it's like, I found more interest with interviews and content with people that are from the industry that disclose information, opposed to people that, yeah, just talk about, yeah, how to do this, how to do this shot, the basic stuff. I could drop names like example. I don't know if you know like Peter McKinnon, for example. He's like a YouTuber. Nah, you don't know? Okay, well yeah, like he's a YouTuber that a lot of like beginners would know of, for example. But he's just a YouTuber. He'll teach you how to make YouTube videos, he'll teach you how to do like commercials or whatever, like wedding videos or whatever. But you don't get the deeper level stuff, you know? And there's a lot of people like him that just make YouTubers that make that kind of content. But yeah, my like I feel like when I could give you a name, for example, where you could do your own research because it seems like you're into film as well. So there's a guy named Indie Mogul, and Indie as an independent, and you know what a mogul is, right? And he was the first time I started hearing about different things that I've never heard of from any YouTuber, you know? And yeah, and they will break down step by step. He would say, okay, this is how you did this shot. Before you move on from that scene, how did you do it? You know, and then like they will map it out. He'd be like, okay, we have the lighting set up from here. We use these kind of lights, and it's all industry level gear they would be speaking about. So you learn way much from those type of conversations. So I started looking for those conversations, and once you know how YouTube is, once you subscribe to a certain thing on content, you find more, you know. So So yeah, so I've been on that side of YouTube, on this side where I know the people can't see my hands, but I've been on this side. I know you can see me, been on this side, and that's how you get it. You find the conversations that from people within the industry, and they'll use certain words that you wouldn't even hear from the regular YouTube filmmakers, you know. So yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever consider going to film school at all? Or you're just like, we're gonna just self train until you reach like a point where you feel really just like clear and confident in like the foundation that you built for yourself versus like getting like a structured program like I'm assuming study financing probably does not have that on their priority list but yeah, like is that something you consider doing seeing that you really like clearly love this stuff?
Yeah, film school. I didn't really have a plan to go to film. I'm actually in school right now. I'm at a school called Greater University of Applied Science, and I study this thing called creative business. And one of the guy that interviewed me, he asked me that same thing because he was asking me about film, and then I was just talking about so much things pertaining to film, and he was like, "Okay, so why are you applying here and not a film school?" And I'm more interested in the business aspect of media. The course is like a media management course, you know, and I'm more interested in the business aspect of media. And with film school, you don't really get like in depth business. You might get a little bit of it, which is more like technical stuff, which is okay. But because we already had like a company per se, I wanted to go to school to learn how to, you know, run a business or whatever. And the course I take is a mixture of business and like a creative side too, you know. So I feel like it was a better blend than just going to a film school. And and I'm not against film school. I think like film school definitely has its benefits, but yeah, for me, I was more interested in the business side. Maybe if I didn't have any um maybe if I wasn't self-taught, I don't know everything, but maybe if I didn't have no experience, maybe if I was starting from level zero, maybe I would have been more interested in film school. But because I'm not starting from level zero, I was more interested in the business. And yeah.
Yeah, I feel it. And I guess Final Cut or Premiere Pro, or do you not even use either of those?
Premiere Pro. Never used Final Cut. First we started off on Sony Vegas. I don't even know if you know about that program. But yeah, we started off with Sony Vegas, and then after it was a garbage program. No disrespect to Sony, but maybe it's a better program now, but at the time, at the time it was garbage. And then we stumbled upon Premiere Pro, and then we was using that ever since. But now we might transition into DaVinci. I don't know if you heard of DaVinci. Yeah, DaVinci started off as a color grading program, and that like a lot of professional colorists use DaVinci to do their work, and it now it's a program where it's not just for color. You could literally edit on it too. You could do everything you could do in Premiere. You can do in DaVinci as well, and DaVinci is free too. So like with all the good stuff, it's for free. So I think you should check that out too. You know, then you can edit your YouTube videos on it, and yeah.
Yeah, I've been using Final Cut and I don't know, like I have heard of DaVinci Resolve and for me, yeah, like the color grading part like on Final Cut is okay, like it's you know, it gets the job done, but like there's like certain things that I see like even just like reels and stuff and I love like how they're able to like bring out warmth in a film shot or just really create this sort of mood and I'm like trying to determine if it's partially the camera that they use to get that like that soft focus or what have you but also just like that the color grading for me is such an important part because like you said like with the dynamic range of lenses and what cameras can get like there's only so much you can do with that but then when you can really color grade to pull out the tones that you really want to highlight um or like even like the depth that you really want to bring focus to it adds more like drama to just even the shot than just like if it were purely a raw shot that you just are like here. But yeah, that's interesting, and I agree. Anything that's free is obviously better. Premiere Pro come at a pretty penny, so I feel it. At least Final Cut you pay for one time and you got that bitch forever. But yeah, it's always interesting to hear what people prefer, you know, because it's like people have different teams that they're on, and so I'm always just like, where are people on that line? And I guess like do you guys use a lot of digital assets for like cuz like obviously music videos on the island like there's a lot of stuff that people be have going on. Is there like a specific source that you guys prefer? Or you guys just pretty much source from anywhere for your assets and all of the extra like effects that you use in like your videos to make it more interesting than just like a very linear timeline or flow?
Yeah, we do a lot of digging for free effects and stuff. And actually right now, you can find a lot of like packs, a lot of free packs where it's like effects that you could just drag and drop and adjust it how you want to adjust it. Before you have to literally make the effects and the animations yourself and do the keyframes, everything by yourself. But yeah, no, we have so much free stuff that you could use to make the video look better, and even have some stuff we even paid for because we see the value in it and we want to use it. Like even for like sound design, we have like a couple sound packs. Like we bought one the other day that we have to like go over and explore with my sound packs or whatever. But yeah, and it came with like it was like an editing masterclass, but it came with the sound pack, and we was like, okay, we'll just buy this for the sound pack, because we don't even know if the commercial, how they promoted the editing was like, it looks alright, I guess, but this sound pack look crazy, so we'll buy it for the sound pack. So yeah, so it's a mixture of like doing a lot of digging on YouTube, where you can find. I don't know if you know, but there's like a lot of like green screen videos on YouTube where you can find the effects and you could just like you could edit the green screen out, and then use those effects too. Some of them garbage because yeah, it's YouTube, but yeah, some of them are good. Some of them have a download link where you can go and download packs and yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a lot of research and digging and figuring out like where to find things that work for your needs for that shot and all of that. But I guess like with working with clients, like was there a process that you guys ended up eventually creating where like it was very made it easier for you guys to work with different clients and to get the shots that they were looking for? Because I feel like as a creative, when you're working with different people, people all have a different vision, and then you as the person that's actually doing the filming, like you might have a different way of looking at things. Like how do you sort of go about ensuring that like there's consensus, I guess, between you and the client so then when you present like the final product, they're like, okay, yeah, I like this versus like, bro, what the hell did you do? Like what's this? You know?
Yeah, we always make sure we're on the same page with the client from the jump. So we go over the pre-production process together. Usually we're the ones storyboarding. It's better to storyboard with the client because sometimes yeah you don't get the same. They're like, okay, I didn't expect this, but yeah we make sure we're on the same page from the jump, and we talk to them, like, and a lot of things like they don't really know a lot of like technical stuff for certain things. So we'll have the discussion and then we'll be like, okay, we translate it. We're like, okay, by this, okay, we have to do this, we have to do this shot, we have to do that shot. And then we'll let them know what we can't and can't do or what might not work. Because they could have an idea and then it's like, okay, yeah, that's missing. For that to work, we'll need this. Or for that to work, we'll need a certain type of gear for that and we can't even provide that. We don't even have that access. So yeah. We're involved in we're both involved in the pre-production process. We never really had a situation where the client was fully confused at the final product. Final product. We just have we. It's mostly it mostly is either they're like completely satisfied or they're like, okay, tweak this, like take this shot out because somebody in the background, we can't have this person wearing this shirt in the background, so take it, to take this shot out. It's mostly stuff like that. So far, yeah. So far, we've been on the same page. But yeah, you have to be on the same on. You have to work together in the pre-production process, and have those meetings before the camera even turn on. Sometimes you figure out if you can even help the client. Figure out like, okay, it would be better for you to check this person instead because yeah, we wouldn't be able to help you out with this or with this. Yeah, it's better to have those meetings in the beginning.
Definitely. I guess then for like people that like want to get into this industry and they're like, Keverne, this looks so cool, but like I don't know where to start and like I don't know nobody and I have maybe my iPhone and that's it. What do I do if I just like want to, just get into film, just making little clips, little TikToks and little reels, whatever, to just like get in that process of building like the lens of a filmmaker, because like even making a TikTok and a reel, like you still have to have some sort of storyline. You can still have your little edits, you can still color grade that, add your little sound effects, do still build that sort of like lens and process that you can then apply to bigger projects. I guess, like, do you have any advice, especially, because we are moving more towards this creator economy, where content is really becoming, the product that people are, thirsty for nowadays. Yeah, like I guess, do you just have any, advice for the young St. Martiners that are like, I want to be like you, and they're like, I don't know how though. I have no clue.
Okay, so I would say for those people, I would say YouTube is your best friend. And also, don't feel like you have to go to film school to be a great filmmaker. There are a lot of people that didn't go to film school. I could say some names, but I don't know if you ever heard of David Fincher.
I don't know nobody, bro. Clearly.
You could do the research. You can even type in filmmakers that didn't go to film school. Even Tarantino, he didn't even go to film school either. Tarantino, I don't know. Yeah, well, yeah, they didn't go to film school either. So yeah, you could do, it's just mad research. You have the internet, you could use it. The same beginner content that I was complaining about, right? Is the same beginner content that people should look for. And when you find one video, you don't just stick with that one video. You cross reference to make sure that things correlate and make sense. That because you could, from one video, you could understand it one way, and then when it comes up again in another video, it's like, okay, this sounds completely different. So, and it's all you're not in school, so it's like the things you get, you don't have to like double check. It's like it's school, so it's like, it's accurate. But with this, you just don't just stick with one video. Watch multiple videos on the same topic with everything beginner level at least, and then develop. Even like take your own notes. Like, it's your own school. It's your own school. And for anybody that wants to be a filmmaker, there's this playlist on YouTube called 4 Years of Film School in 100 videos. Okay. If you can make it through that playlist, I feel like then you're ready. If you can't make it to that playlist, then yeah, it's probably not for you. If everything in that is like boring for you, then not. Then not. Don't even do it. But if you love it, then yeah, you will make it through that playlist, and then you'll be good. It even took me a while to get through it at a certain point, because like I was kind of procrastinating here and there. But when I got through it, I was like, this helpful. So it's called 4 Years of Film School in 100 videos, and it's on YouTube.
Yes, people, you hear. Use the resources that are free and at your fingertips. If you want it, go get it. But that's so awesome. I'm really excited to see sort of the projects that you guys come out with. Like, I hope like St. Martin does get to a point where we have our own TV shows and our own films and our own stories that really like amplify the experiences of the people that live there. And I feel like your work definitely does that, and I feel like that's the type of representation that to me matters the most. Like, I'm like, yeah, like I actually want to see like authentic Caribbean voices telling their story. Like, I'm telling you, I'm waiting for the day we have like a St. Martin Boondocks. Oh my gosh, I cannot. Oh,
Yo, that would be crazy for real though.
it would be fire. Like, oh my god, like I could see it now. Like, I'm just like, this would be so amazing. Like, oh, the things we could do. But it takes, one step at a time. And I'm sure, like, you guys, when you guys continue growing focal length studios, like, you never know. Like, it might be something you guys pitch one day. Who knows? Netflix might be like, guys, give us an idea. And you're like, you remember? Nicole did have that thought, somewhere in Boondocks. You never know. You
Yeah,
never
we'll,
know.
we'll we'll cut we'll cut that check too. Give you a little percentage.